been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Well, it's time to put another season underway here in 2025. Live from the virtual Daytona International, we've got to settle out the score from last season. Rob Rader taking Season 4 championship by storm. And the fan favorite, you got Jeremy Burns out on the racetrack. I'm sure that there'll be plenty of people watching and paying attention to what we have in store. But here live on V-Speed for the 5th season in a row, it's the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution. Here tonight, it's the Noir Motorsports Clash at Daytona. A lot of action in store for you. Hello and welcome. My name is Bradley Cooper. Alongside me, as of last season, Alex Gagnon, co-commentary up in the booth. Alex, we've talked about how this action and this setting at Daytona, I'm glad to see them back. We had the clash last year at the Coliseum. This time around, it's back in its home environment. Daytona, no better place to settle the score.
No, this really is the place you want to have the clash when it comes down to it. And we're really doing it the way the Clash has been done in years of old. While this season will not be run in Gen 4 cars at all, tonight and tonight only for the Clash, they will be rocking the Gen 4 Cup cars. So very much reminiscent of the early Clash days here at Daytona. And I think it'll be a really good fit for what should be a really fun little 50-lap shootout, Bradley.
55-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit for tire sets available laying in the pits. The chat will choose 2 drivers, and if you notice at the top of your screen there in the YouTube chat, there should be a Q&A that you can click on right now. This will open up after the grid and go all the way to the stage at lap 20. If we have a caution within 5 laps left of the stage, that will be the stage at lap 15. However, we will cut that off as soon as those drivers take that yellow flag for whatever that may be on this stage. But with 1:48 left here, drivers out on the warm-ups. Quite a few names that we remember from last season. You've got Grant Turner, Carter Lenz, Devin Hudgens, Jeremy Burns, of course, the fan favorite, Kevin Orlando Jr., just a lot of people that had really good seasons that were in the hunt there for that playoff contention all the way to the very last race.
Yeah, and there'll be so many familiar faces coming back this year. A couple of new guys as well, but a lot of familiar faces. Some drivers like a Rob Rader or Jeremy Burns looking to continue last year's rousing success. Other drivers looking to build on the season that was and trying to either, pick up a couple more wins this year or potentially take home that title at the end of the year. Grant Thorpe and Carter Lenz got so close a season ago to being able to walk off with the title, and I'm sure they're looking for another opportunity to go at it. And, when we think of new faces, one familiar face that people will see on track for the first time will be V-Speed's own Morgan Cook. Last year's producer and commentator will be taking the track tonight, ready to rock and roll in the number 51 machine. So when you see him on track, feel free to let him know how you feel, because he has moved from the booth to the track this season.
Feel free to EOL him. That's where my vote's going to go. I don't know about you, Alex, but that's what I want to see. I want to see the 51 get all the votes. So, but again, that's going to go to 2 drivers out here, and keep that in mind as we progress through the first 20 laps of this clash. But with that, it's time to take you trackside. Actually, take a quick look here at Daytona. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. 31 degrees of banking in this 2.5-mile speedway. Opened February 22nd, 1959, to replace the beachfront. The cars were getting too powerful out there on the packed sand to actually stay in the corners. So NASCAR built a behemoth of a racetrack down here in South Central Florida, right near the beach. Just an amazing facility. In fact, a little fun fact for you, the front stretch so long that to get the stadium seats level, they had to adjust for the curvature of the earth. That is how long the front straightaway is here. It drops about 3.5 inches from end to end. It's incredible how big this facility is. And I mean, they're continuously been adding seats. And I'm sure if it wasn't for that giant lake down the backstretch, they have grandstands there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But it does add to the scenery, Lake Floyd back there. It is truly the World Center of Racing for a reason. And we'll be here a couple of times over the next few weeks between the Clash and then, the season opener. But for right now, we've got 34 cars ready to rock and roll in a moment here in this 50-lap shootout.
So with all that out of the way, let's get this Clash underway now. Noir starting off here in the motorsports scene. Great to have them as a sponsor, but let's talk about that pole award. It's your Coastal Financial pole award going to Travis Gilbert in the number 22. He'll start on the top spot here tonight. Congratulations to Travis Gilbert, and a shout out Coastal Financial. Our mission at Coastal Financial is to provide comprehensive financial planning solutions tailored to each individual's unique needs and goals, with the aim of empowering our clients to make informed financial decisions and achieve their financial potential. You can find us at coastalfinancial.com or on Facebook at Coastal Financial. So with that, now we move on to your grid. It is going to be a 48.555 for Travis Gilbert. Al Lincolns is going to start to his outside in the 13. Row number 2 goes to Dylan Picklesheimer with Kevin Orlando Jr. in 4th position. Then you have the fan favorite Jeremy Burns in the number 9, Daniel Holloway in 6th spot, 7th Matt Robinson, Nick Alves in 8th. Rounding out your top 10 here tonight for the Clash is Grant the Toes Turner, Kyle Diaz in 10th.
11th tonight will be Brandon Richardson in the 8th, Alex Forget in the 19 to his outside. Caleb Gilbert will roll off 13th this evening alongside Trevor Erhardt in the 41 machine. Michael Reed rolls off 15th here tonight with Chris Nail in the 88. Christopher Berger and Kyle Stewart make up row number 9 with Michael Call and reigning champ Rob Rader rounding out the top 20.
Talked to Rob Rader there pre-race, and I had to mention that don't touch these cars. They don't like to bump draft. Morgan Cook will start in 21st. Joe Hioa is going to start in 22nd. Kyler Harrison, 23rd. Parker Johnston in 24th. And then you have James Loveland, Justin Ritchie, 26th. 27th, Grant Thorpe, Justice Murphy. We're cycling over here. 29th, Christopher Schaefer, Trevor Keith. 2 more rows, Devin Hudgens, Cameron King. But here we go for season number 5 of the Cup Series. Live in racing at the Clash. And coming by to lead lap number 1, it will be your pole sitter, Travis Gilbert, holding on to it. And I saw some questions there in chat. So I just want to establish EOL is an end-of-line penalty that you will be able to vote for these drivers, essentially taking them to the rear of this field at the stage break. So if you have a favorite driver, probably don't want to name that driver. If you have a rival or someone that you know has beaten your favorite driver, probably a good idea to use that vote for them.
It's worth noting this is a one-off thing for the Clash, just a little bit of fun. We're at the stage. A couple drivers going to have to do the back-to-front challenge. Yes, definitely not end of life. This is the end of line challenge. That
luckily in the end of life for the race. It could be the end of their race for sure.
Potentially. There's a lot of cars off to work through tonight. We're on here to lap number 3. Travis Gilbert leading the way. Picklesheimer and Likens will be door to door for that second spot. Grant Thorpe also in that mix, unless someone else is running the 77 Kodak machine. I believe that actually might be the 13 by Likens.
Yeah, there's going to be a little discrepancy with the numbers here tonight, but that is Al Likens and the 77 Kodak. And you see a lot of throwback paint schemes, some of the classics that you've had. One that stands out to me back here, I think that's the 26 machine of Kyle Diaz running the Terry Labonte throwback. Got Milk. That was a Hendrick car for the number 5 back in the day. That's always the one I go to. It's my favorite car as far as NASCAR in the 2000 era, early 2000s. But you see some other unique paint schemes as well. You've got a Philadelphia Eagles 08 there on the inside running around the 15th position right now.
Yeah, a couple of fun ones in the mix. A couple of familiar paint schemes as well that have been translated over from the next gens back to the Gen 4s. Kevin Orlando's Starry car going to keep on the move here up on that high side. So we jump on board a little deeper in the line. You get just a sense of what it's like running in these lines right now, running this pack on board with the 19 of Alex Forget, who won a couple races last year and try and win the Clash here tonight, but has a lot of cars he'll have to work through on that inside row if he's going to get up to the front. Right now, about 2 wide all the way back through the top 10 before it starts to single file out just a little bit.
Side by side, the top spot, Travis Gilbert, Dylan Picklesheimer. Down the back straightaway, Gilbert has it by about half a car. Again, we went back, we talked about how you don't want to touch the next generation car. A lot easier to get connected in bump draft. These cars, the front end, the nose is a lot lower than the rear bumper. And we'll go on board here with the 9 of Jeremy Burns. You can get a real sense of how this car, so there we go, as we get a look at the nose of this car. Look at to the right-hand side of your screen. Definitely goes underneath that rear bumper. So if you're going to try to bump draft, you definitely want to be on the straightaway, and you definitely want to push lightly because these cars will lift the back tires of the car in front of them.
Yeah, and all it takes to be is slightly off center, and it's going to completely shift someone up and out of the way. As you see Burns, just a light tap to the back bumper of Dylan Picklesheimer, gives him a little bit of a boost going into turn 3. It's going to keep him alongside Travis Gilbert as they roar through 3 and 4. too wide all the way through the field here. Everything's gotten bunched back up. Got a couple of cars who are starting to fall off the tail end of the field way back there. But, you know, right now with that stage scheduled for lap 20, not in any too desperate of a situation at this point, as everyone is still just locked in up at the front of the field. Although with Picklesheimer starting to pull ahead a little bit here, is that going to give an opportunity for Burns to try and jump to the high side?
It does. The 9 goes to the high line. He'll get in front of the 22 of Gilbert. And Burns going to try to take away this spot. Again, this isn't like the next gen where you're going to get that huge run and clear. And for Burns moving to that outside, he might just go stagnant.
And so the Mountain Man going to try and lead that outside lane if he can get up and get clear of Dylan Picklesheimer. However, that 35 showing a lot of speed on the inside right now, especially now that Matt Robinson's got up to his back bumper. We'll jump on board here with Jeremy Burns, the onboard cam, as he tries to lead this outside lane, but they are starting to fall back a little bit here. Robinson now clear of the 9.
I believe that's a Hooters themed suit that he's wearing. I can't quite tell below that steering wheel, but I want to say that's where I would want to be instead of in this 200 mile per hour traffic jam. 199 going into turns 3 and 4.
You can see right now there's been a difference in philosophy from some of these drivers up front. Folks like Travis Gilbert and Jeremy Burns have tried getting up to the high side whenever that's where the run's been. Starting to fall back off. The run's, though, a little bit more dynamic on the high side. You see him get right up to the lead car, fall back almost 2 car lengths at times. Then you've got folks like Matt Robinson and Dylan Picklesheimer who have just glued themselves to the inside lane and have worked their way up to the front through attrition as other cars jump to the high side. A lot of differences in philosophy you can have in the early going of a super speedway race. The only thing you can't do is disagree at the right or the wrong time with the guy next to you or ahead of you. And if you make the same move at the same time, it could be catastrophe throughout the field.
It's going for that same piece of real estate. A lot of times it's not so much a disagreement, but it's a mutual understanding of where you want to be. And for a lot of these guys, they'll see that gap, they'll see the hole, they'll both go for it at the same time. And then, you know, like right here, the 9 of Burns drops down in front. If everyone doesn't get that message that the 9's going to come down and they don't check up in time, that's where you can see some carnage. 35 is going to go to the high line here. Plenty of room. But you're relying on your spotter, and for some of these guys that don't have someone up on top of the box, you're relying on iRacing to tell you where those cars are if you have someone to your outside. Sometimes that's delayed here, Alex, and we've seen that before.
Yeah, and you know, when you have an actual spotter, you can make those moves at a snap decision. If you have the iRacing spotter, they're pretty quick about it, but not quick enough in a lot of cases. As you see a little 3-wide action deeper in the field, Morgan Cook splitting the difference of Michael Call, and I believe that's the 23 of Christopher Schaefer on the outside. So things getting a little more tense in the back here, the 93 into the wall.
93, and then Morgan Cook just able to clear, dives down to the inside of the 12, the 3-wide again, mid-pack, about 18th position. And that's what we call the sucker hole right there, where you see the 12, but he's actually working his way through here. He's going to jump up in front of Tyler Harrison into the 15th spot. That was Justice Murphy that made that move.
Yeah, Justice Murphy slowly working his way toward the front here. Was trying to avoid getting stuck back with no draft help, found a gap around the 45 and was able to tuck on in. Oh, and now someone from front gets shuffled out. I believe that's Trevor Erhardt who just lost his spot there. The whole inside line trying to go around him, and he is dropping like a rock outside of the top 10. Now side by side with the 88 and the 12 of Justice Murphy.
And all you can do in that instance is let these cars go by. You can see people getting shuffled out. They're just not moving with that. It's kind of a flow. It's like an ocean. And if you don't stay with the wave, ride that wave through here, you can see they're tightening up. 12 comes down on the 77. Very tight here off of 4. Morgan Cook trying to figure out a way around all of this. 3 wide again. They're going to go to the high line. They're going to stay 3 wide through the tri-oval. 12 comes up. 27 with the block. Contact.
Oh boy.
Into the
That
wall.
is not the spot you want to be making contact. Is door to door in the middle of the corner on 31 degrees of banking. That could have went really wrong, as you see a ton of cars shuffling around now. Everyone coming off of 2 with a full head of steam.
This is the
Grant Thorpe
intensity.
continues to be stuck in the middle here. He is fully boxed in on all sides, nowhere to go. And you just gotta hope, if you're the 77, that everyone's gonna leave you enough space to keep the car in one piece.
Riding on board with Grant Thorpe. Stuck in the middle here. Still has 1 to his outside. Has 2 to his outside. Morgan Cook behind him. These drivers are picking up the intensity. We're getting towards that stage break, and there
wow.
it is.
Nick Alves around, big wreck. Oh, Nick Alves upside down. And that will be the first caution of the night. And if they had that one fast repair, which I believe they did from our pre-race show, about a third of the field's about to burn through theirs. There was a good 8-10 cars who got caught up in that one.
Keep in mind, these drivers will have one fast repair, but for Nick Alves, he has to tow to pit road. That's unfortunate. He will lose a little bit of time here. Let's go back on the instant replay. This starts right here with Alves going sideways, the 12, the 10. Everybody from about 15th on back involved in this.
So another look at it here. Starts up with Orlando and Alves. The 2 of them get around and just collect everybody behind them. There was nowhere to go. I mean, that just absorbed so much of the field so quickly. For those cars running like 3 wide just behind them, I mean, nowhere to go. We're on board here, I believe, with the 51 and Morgan Cook. And just how quickly everything comes unraveled. Michael Call got caught up in it from that angle. Looks like the 93 up in that mix as well. That was Cameron King. A whole host of others. Kyle Stewart, Justin Ritchie, Christopher Schaefer. I believe Trevor Keith was in that as well. I mean, there was just... There was a ton of cars who just got absorbed right there. Yeah, hard into that outside wall. And if you want to get a little motion sick, we could also jump on board with the 24 Alves and really go for a ride. Yeah, if the shift knob could speak, it might flip that smile upside down right about now. That was a hard hit for the 27, who is still on pit road. Certainly a possibility, and you know, it's worth noting, Bradley, the field was kind of split there coming down to pit road. Some of the drivers up front, like Travis Gilbert and Jeremy Burns, elected to come down pit road ahead of the stage, maybe trying to flip it so they could be out front when we hit the stage in a minute here. But some drivers elected to stay out, so be curious to see how that will shuffle on through. I believe the 35 of Dylan Picklesheimer is up at the front of the field with Matt Robinson and Al Likens. Your top 3 now as they run in the Candyman. There, Daniel Holloway running in the 4th spot. Certainly not. Certainly not. I mean, being stuck in the back at a super speedway has its benefits and drawbacks. The benefit is that you'll stay right up with that field the whole way, so you're not trying to pick someone off one by one. You can get large swatches of positions if you just keep yourself in the draft. The downside is exactly what we just saw a couple laps ago, where it just takes one errant twitch and the entire back half of the field, their night is over. So looks like also someone maybe made a bit of contact with the wall there off of 2, trying to get reformed up with the group. I'm not entirely sure who that was, but should be an interesting little sprint here. How aggressive are people going to be going into the stage? Obviously, it's the Clash. It's just an exhibition race. But, you know, at the same time, being able to pit from the front is a very useful tool for those who are going to have to come down pit road in a minute here. So how hard they're going to push, how aggressive are they going to be in these little 3-lap stint? If I'm Dylan Picklesheimer, I'm a little afraid of that pack behind me. The 35 got some separation from the group. They all come roaring back to him on the back straightaway. And Al Likens is just going to fly by on the outside. Matt Robinson shoving that Kodak machine to the front. Board here, on board with Berger, second in line on the inside lane, the 36, pushing the 35 of Picklesheimer, 1 car clear of Likens on the high side. Things getting 3 wide, deeper in the field, but up at the front, door to door, Likens and Picklesheimer going into 3 for the final time in stage number 1. Yeah, so congratulations, 35 at Dylan Picklesheimer. Led the most laps in the opening 20 and will claim the stage win. However, the other major asterisk of him winning the stage here is there was another massive wreck deeper in the field. And I think there was some familiar faces from the first incident involved in this one as well. There we go. Oh. Yeah, there was a couple of cars all shuffling around there going into 3. It's like 51 through a block on the 22. They were 3 wide here. Actually, several rows deep of 3 wide. 51 clips the wall as he gets off. Oh, so was, who was in the spam car just in front of him? The 2 of them lost a ton of speed coming down there. Is that Caleb Gilbert in the 54? Oh, sorry, hitting the Coors Light car. It looked like the Spam car. Both of these guys, when they got into the wall here in 3 and 4, they both let off a ton of speed. And the combination of the two really got everything stacked up. Cook tried getting down in the round just as there was a too-wide situation below him. And everything got unraveled after that. Looks like, at least in the, I don't know about the questionnaire, but in the chat, there's a couple of numbers and names have pitched out. People who have been looking to potentially nominate someone for the EOL.
Been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't, as they are making their way out of 4 right now, about to fire off here for the second half of this shootout. The 2 incidents that we've seen so far have been mid-pack and back, so for anyone stuck back there right now, best of luck working to the front.
Technical issue with my microphone yet again, but here we go back. Green flag racing. Noir Motorsports Clash at Daytona, stage 2.
Rob Rader going to lead him into turn 1. There's 53 on the timing table. Number 08 there on track. He's going to lead Travis Gilbert. Ooh, a little bit of a late block there from Rader. Nearly got himself and the 22 in all sorts of trouble there through 1 and 2. Late move, later block.
So that block through 1 and 2 could have went wrong in so many ways, but they get away with it. Now the 22 to the outside. And I think he was just trying to break that momentum. He knew that he jumped out a little too far. 22 actually still trying to get the momentum going. And here's another late move of the 35. Picklesheimer, who won the stage, moves to the high line. 3 wide at about 15th position.
That seems to be where a lot of the 3 wide has been happening tonight. You see it settle out just a little bit there. A couple of cars all trying to get themselves sorted out. Christopher Schaefer, Michael Reed in that mix. And meanwhile, back up at the front, Gilbert and Picklesheimer now door to door as the 22 is jumped, or the 35 jumped down to take away the spot from Rader. And now Gilbert going to leave the outside lane door to door. As Holloway going to try and push the 22 to the front here.
And the 35 of Picklesheimer drops down in front of the 53. Rob Rader labeled in the 08. Philadelphia Eagles Superstar ARCA Cup down on that banner. On the high line now, Daniel Holloway. First time we mentioned his name here tonight. Started in 6th spot. Giving a push on that high line. 48 behind him. That's Parker Johnston.
Whoa!
And they are sideways. Here's the move to the outside.
Well, he was drifting that thing off of turn 2. He got it collected though and is still able to keep Travis Gilbert door to door with Picklesheimer going into 3. Candyman with a bit of a spike in the heart rate there, I'd have to imagine. They're going to keep running here in the top 5. The 2 of them are trying to keep in line here with the 35 of Picklesheimer, that is Rader, and then Grant Turner there in that mix in the low side as well. See Parker Johnston creeping up on the high side, along with Devin Hutton from 84.
2 by 2, about 20 rows deep. It just keeps on coming. Some cars have dropped back though. You know, this is probably a tactic that you could use at the actual Daytona race, but here tonight, it's probably not going to work out very well. You got Kyle Diaz leading this group, and while this may seem like a safe place to be, there's not a lot of laps here in this race, so less than 20 to go here. You're going to have to get moving, and will these guys be able to catch back up?
That is the question. They're about a second and a half off that lead group. They are running single file compared to the 2 wide up front, so they will make a little bit of time on them here probably. But they've got to make sure that they keep themselves lined up and this lead group does not get settled if they're going to give themselves a chance to get back into the mix. As now Rader and Picklesheimer door to door. This front 6 continues to shuffle around.
Watch the move here down to the bottom. 35 actually gets put below the yellow line here. Watch, he's going to get a touch, and almost went wrong for him.
Yet somehow he was able to not only hold on to it, but keep himself in a battle for the lead with the reigning series champ. So it's been a great night so far for Dylan Picklesheimer, and he is going to keep himself up front. Grant Turner directly on his back bumper. Chris Nail, also about as high as he's run all night. Michael Call in that mix as well. Some new faces making their way into the top 10 here, as we'll hit the 20 to go symbol just in a couple laps here.
I know that everyone here knows what Grant Turner looks like, but let's go ahead and put it up there on the screen what he's notorious for. This is why we call him Grant the Toes.
the foot cam, which will be a pretty slow watch here, I think, tonight with Daytona. It's just hammered down. However, it just shows that you can keep this thing wide open, and you'll see the little bit of throttle control here as he works his way through the corner, making sure he doesn't get too high up on the 35 while maintaining some good speed. So don't really have to worry about the brake, but a lot of throttle control needed to do well here.
Sometimes drivers will trail brake into the entry of the corners if they check up, but you're seeing a lot of movement in front of this driver. The 08 of Raider gets back to the point. Drops down in front of the 35. Now a push on the back end. The 22 I thought was going to clear the 08. Moves back up in front of the 21. They're going to stay side by side. 20 laps to go.
Quick check-in on our two end-of-line drivers from the stage break. 9 of Jeremy Burns has worked his way up to 20th. 51 of Morgan Cook has worked his way up to 18th. So the two of them have been trying to work through the field together here after that EOL, and they're making up a little bit of time here.
Yeah, they're making up ground, and we're talking about EOL. It was back into this field. That's 30 cars long here. They have about 10 of those positions, but they're starting to get back into that weird trance of where the 3 wide. We saw it a lot there in the first stage. We're going to see it again here, probably around 5-6 laps to go, where drivers are going to start to get impatient with each other. You're already kind of seeing it here as Floyd in the 57 Doritos car drops down. He's following with Kyle Stewart, trying to get through this in about 17th spot.
So yeah, while things continue to shift up at the front, a lot of positions gaining and losing here in the middle of the field. And this is the time, if you're back, behind 15th, you've got to be making those kind of moves now to get yourself in position to try and win this race. You don't have to be leading when you get to the final lap here at Daytona, but you do need to keep yourself in the front couple rows to at least give yourself a chance. So we're on board here with the 84 at Devin Hudgens. He's working this outside lane about, say, 6 cars back or so from the front. That is an ambitious move right there. Boy, oh boy, Michael Reed, I believe, really trying to make something happen. Goes 3 wide with Likens and Call, and he's going to take that spot away from Al Likens as you see everyone getting around the lap car here of Grant Thorpe.
Thorpe stuck down there on the bottom. He got out of the way just in time. 39 hits the back bumper. Grant Turner trying to get the 35 back up to speed. Rob Rader sees it happening, drops down in front of it. They were 3 wide there for a moment at the front. Just about 15 laps to go, and we're talking about biggest movers of the race. 19 spots for Rob Rader, 19 spots. Parker Johnston on the move as well.
That 48 has really suddenly worked his way into prime position as a blink there from Michael Reed right when he was getting to the back bumper of the 48. That'll make your heart skip a beat a little bit. But
Absolutely.
Right now, still door to door through basically the front 10, 15 rows here. That last little group has caught the lead pack, but they remain single file behind him.
This is on board with Trevor Keith and the number 15, another driver that we have on our driver cameras. And he's another one of those drivers that was able to put it all together a couple times there last season. Really a podium driver. Unfortunate though here tonight. Looks like he's stuck deep in this field. And with the time left in this race, I don't know if you're 20th on back, it's going to be a long shot. It's going to take something dramatic happening to get you to the lead.
I think the first thing, if you're in Trevor Keith's situation, is you got to find a way to make this a 2-lane situation for the back cars in the field. The last 7 or 8 cars in line are all stuck single file right now. They're not a part of this bigger group that's all door-to-door, 2 and 3 wide off the corner as Parker Johnston starting to get shuffled out with no draft help. He'll lose out to Hudgens and slide in behind the 84. Laps continue to tick away. 15 to go here in the clash at Daytona. And it's getting real dicey there. Jeremy Burns, Chris Schaefer. Little door-to-door in the middle of the corner.
Burns up to 17th, trying to follow suit. Looks like the 51 of Morgan Cook has fallen back to 24th now. Playing it kind of quiet down here on the bottom. But you can see Burns working methodically through this field. Going to the front. Oh, we got pit stops.
Yeah, big chunk of cars coming down pit road here, led by Chris Nail. Well, that's certainly going to put a bit of a wrench in things.
Didn't even factor that in here with the stage break and what these guys did, the cautions that came out. Now we've stayed green since lap 24, I believe it was, that we went back green. Some of these drivers had stayed out for the entirety of that stage, had stretched it as far as it could go. You've got other drivers that came down pit road during that second caution that might be able to make it further on fuel.
Yeah, certainly a possibility. A lot of cars looking like they're trying to get down to the inside lane here. Maybe trying to get set up for a potential green flag pit stop of their own. There was quite a few takers that time around to come down pit road. About 10 cars or so who all peeled off about a lap and a half ago at this point. So Rader leads, but all of a sudden everything is single filed out through the top 4 or 5 and half the field dipped down the pit road. He's got Picklesheimer and he's got Turner on his back bumper. Michael Reed, with a little bit of help from Al Likens, trying to make it a race up at the front on that second lane.
You can kind of do that in this Generation 4 cars. They peel down for our second round of pit stops. A lot of cars back here. And the 7's around. That is Joya, and he loses control in the entry of pit road. I don't think anyone else getting involved with that. That was a close one, but minimal, actually a little bit of left front damage there on the 7. And he'll go ahead and use that fast repair, I'm sure. No, he will not.
He may have already burned it up. Well, now Michael Reed's going to inherit the lead up at the front. You see the remaining cars who have yet to come down pit road. It doesn't look like this is going to be the time for them either. I think these are the folks who more or less stayed out to the stage. So Reed, Likens, Holloway, Schaefer, and Berger will be leading this breakaway group with about 10, 11 cars. Probably down pit road in the next couple laps here. They were able to stretch it further than anybody else due to the fact that they had stayed out to the stage.
And I want to throw it out there, if it is Berger and not Berger, I think it's Berger, that we're butchering your name here. No pun intended.
Well, if that is the case, we do sincerely apologize up here in the B-Speak booth. You know, pronunciations are hard. The only thing more difficult, math. That is the thing that we have always established here.
I think that the problem here is that it's too close to dinner time for me, so I'm reading what
I feel that.
Oh, off the track a little bit there on the entry to pit road. Maybe a pit road penalty. We'll have to wait and see for Michael Reed. That was a close call. Dips the right front tire into the grass. We'll keep an eye on the 91 of Reed to see if that is indeed a penalty. Left sides go up now. And maybe not the best call, but yeah, it is going to be a hold penalty for an unsafe pit entry on the 91 machine.
Well, this pit cycle has worked out in a really interesting way. These last couple cars are going to have to come down pit road now. Likens, Schaefer, and Berger. And with those three coming down pit road, the lead is going to be inherited by the Candyman, Daniel Holloway. And he has got a whole host of cars trying to reel him in, but he is kind of on his own island right now. So here comes Jeremy Burns and Grant Turner. They've got a full head of steam as they come roaring up to the back bumper of the 21. And it's going to fly by him like he's standing still. So despite the end of line, the Mountain Man finds himself back up front, but here comes Rob Rader weaving around traffic. Picklesheimer in the mix as well. Oh, almost turned him. Oh, man.
Close call there through the tri-oval for Rob Rader. Picklesheimer dipped to the inside. Here's the move to the bottom. Last minute move there on the 21, then tries to come down. 35 was there.
And nearly got himself turned, but the two of them have reeled in that car breakaway group at the front. And I think these are going to be the cars we're going to see battling in this lead group. Or actually, sorry, there was an issue for Rader and Picklesheimer. They're currently scored one lap down. They're trying to get their lap back. So it really is just Burns, Turner, and Caleb Gilbert right now in the mix of this lead group. The 53, or the 08 on track, along with the 35, despite being two of the fastest cars all night, off a lap here and need to get it back.
Running out of laps to do so. 43 laps into this race, 42 complete. Jeremy Burns finds himself in the lead with Grant Turner and Caleb Gilbert the top three. Daniel Holloway back up to speed now with Kyle Diaz, Travis Gilbert, Parker Johnston, Trevor Erhardt in that grouping as well. 8th position on board with the 41 machine.
Trevor Erhardt not out of this thing by a long shot. He's only 1 second back of the lead here, and this second group is reeling in the leaders. Holloway has cut it down to a half-second gap up front as they get around Travis Gilbert. They're trying to, at least. Picklesheimer steps out to try and get his lap back. And this thing could potentially become a two-wide affair up at the front this time by. Only going to be a handful of laps left when they hit the stripe, and Jeremy Burns, even with the EOL at the stage break, going to put himself in position maybe to try and win the clash here after a dominating season last year. But a lot of cars still in the mix. Oh boy, Rader puts somebody in the fence. That's Holloway.
And probably not going to be happy with that. Late move here. Got into the 35, was 3 wide, a lot of contact.
Looks like he was trying to get back up toward the 35 and just the 21 wrong place, wrong time in that battle between Picklesheimer and Rader. And this now really does put an interesting situation up at the front of the field. That second lane right now being led by Rader, who's trying to get his lap back. The two of those guys are teammates. With those cars not being on the same lap, what will they do here? It looks like they might try and pinch him behind the lap car. Burns trying to work his way up and around Thorpe, just barely had enough room. And everyone going to go by the 77 with 5 laps to go. Jeremy Burns leads. Oh! Travis Gilbert sideways on the back straightaway, spinning into the infield. And iRacing, in its infinite wisdom, with no detection of racetrack back there, is going to let this thing stay green. Why? Because no racing line, I guess.
Unfortunate there for the 22. He's going to lose all that time. He'll fall out of the top 10, all the way back to 24th position. 4 laps to go. We haven't seen the end of it. Still a chance here as you see the 08 and the 35 on your screen. They've got their lap back the old-fashioned way, but can they keep it up there? You've got the 9 of Burns. You also have a car to the outside here. I believe the 70 is a lap down after that hold penalty, but the 54 is on the lead lap. That's Travis Gilbert, or Caleb Gilbert rather, trying to take away that lead. Lap cars becoming a factor here.
Yeah, becoming a factor big time. Lap cars are the first 3 cars in the pack. That battle you're looking for the lead, folks, is in that 3rd row. The 9 of Jeremy Burns, the 54 of Caleb Gilbert. Those two door-to-door for the lead here with 3 laps to go. Grant Turner and Trevor Keith now runs in the 4th spot. We were just talking about what would the 15 have to do to get to the front. Well, what the answer was a green flag pit cycle, and now he's going to go 3 wide for the lead here. TK up high.
48 on the back bumper of Parker Johnson trying to get him clear. the 54 and the 9. They still have lap cars in front here, but he's trying to take it all back, get those cars back a lap down. 2 laps to go when they cross the stripe through the tri-oval. Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series is getting good.
Oh, you betcha. Lap cars have parted for the top 2 lanes. The only lap car in the mix up front now is Michael Reed down that low side, but door to door here for the lead. It's the 54 of Caleb Gilbert, the 15 of Trevor Keith. Side by side going down the backstretch for the penultimate time. Here comes Matt Robinson fighting his way to the front. They've got a lane down low if they want it.
Gilbert gets help from the 11. It's Matt Robinson who's a lap down as well. Lap cars have been a major factor here in the finish of this race. The 9 of Burns falls back. White flag in the air. Final time around at Daytona. Norarm Motorsports Clash. Week number 1 of season 5. Who's going to hold on to it? Gilbert's going to hold on at the time in 1 and 2. 15 to the high line. Has very little help from Parker Johnston. 39 could step out of line. That's Grant Turner on board with him. He will move out of line.
The white flag presented to you by Erhardt Homes. Love where you live, and we're going to have ourselves a race to the finish. Here comes Grant Turner and Caleb Gilbert.
This is going to be a drag race out of 3 and 4. A pinch on the draft, a little door contact. Can the 54 hold it? Parker Johnston, no, that was the 41 rather. Across the line by a couple 1,000ths of a second. It's going to be Grant Turner by exactly 3 1,000ths. He will be your victor in the clash. 3 1,000ths of a second. It was less than a 10 across the top 4. And all those lap cars given the push. Caleb Gilbert gets second. Justin Ritchie gets third. And $25 to the pocket of Grant Turner by 3 1,000ths. We have to go back and watch that finish. Gonna back it up a little bit more here. Going through 3 and 4. Look at the big head of steam here on the outside for a lot of cars. The 15, unfortunately, for Trevor Keith gets shuffled out. The 39 has a lap car pushing him. So does the 54. This lap car is dictating the finish of this race.
Yeah, and the big thing that I saw there on the back straightaway was Matt Robinson had an opportunity to step out there in the closing moments to try and jump up to the high side around Gilbert. Didn't commit to it. Grant Turner did. And off the nose of the 70 there, Michael Reed by 3 1,000ths of a second. Look at that. Grant Turner and the Hot Wheels machine just barely going to take it. He timed that thing perfectly, committed to the high line at just the right time, and got one heck of a push from Michael Reed.
The best angle here at Daytona to try to find just not an excellent angle here at Daytona that we can actually go with, but that's as close as it gets. And
I was about to say, that's probably about the best angle we're going to find.
That's all you needed right there. That extra little touch there from the 70 to get him across the line. And now he's going to burn it down on the front straightaway. Your winner here tonight, Grant Turner. Congratulations to him. Final race results. This race interviews with your top 3 coming up right after this. You're watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution. More coverage right after this.
I've been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Back here live at the World Center of Racing, season number 5 in the Clash Noir Motorsports. Putting it on here tonight for the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. Grant Turner is going to get the victory by 3/1000ths of a second. It was the top 4 that were all within a tenth of each other. Third place dictated by 6/1000ths of a second. Justin Ritchie gets third over Trevor Keith. It was lap traffic that dictated the outcome of this race. A lot going on there in those top spots, but there's the finishing order with 30 lead changes and 2 cautions here tonight. Justin Ritchie all the way down there. We'll get a word with those drivers in just a moment. Trevor Keith, 4th spot. Parker Johnston, Jeremy Burns, 5th and 6th. 7th goes to Kyle Diaz, Chris Nail in 8th. Then you go with 9th, Carter Lenz. Kyle Stewart will round out for top 10.
And 11th tonight will be Kevin Orlando Jr. Devin Hudgens finishes 12th, just ahead of Michael Call. Coda Floyd finishing 14th tonight. Morgan Cook in the 15th position. Justice Murphy 16th. Tyler Harrison 17th, just ahead of Trevor Erhardt in 18th. Chris Schaefer in 19th. And Al Likens rounds out the top 20.
21st goes to the 36 machine of Christopher Berger, Daniel Holloway, and 22nd Brandon Richardson will finish 23rd. Alex Forget Berube will finish in 24th with James Loveland in the O2 in 25th. Travis Gilbert 26th. Michael Reed 27th. Matt Robinson 28th. Rob Rader falls all the way back to 29th. And Dylan Picklesheimer will round out 30th. 4 more cars to talk about on these results. You have Joe Joya, who took an early exit here tonight. Grant Thorpe also early out. A lot of problems with these drivers. Nick Alves 2 laps down, and Cameron King behind the wall to finish this one out here tonight. But with that, we have your top 3 to bring up on post-race interviews. First driver that we're going to bring up here is your race winner, Grant Turner. And I believe Alex Gagnon has caught up with him.
Hey there, Grant. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, you led exactly 1 lap here tonight, and it was the most crucial one, but you were in the mix all evening long. Talk to us a little bit about how your clash went and what it was like trying to time that final move on the last lap.
most of the race was just trying to make sure that you didn't accidentally hit the rear end of the car ahead of you. With how these noses are, you could easily lift up the rear tires whenever you don't mean to. Setting up the finish there was my own kind of goof, is how I'll say it. I thought until literally crossing the start-finish line that actually the person I was up against was second in line on the inside.
Oh. Well, that
So
would change the way
if you
you
had
race
my
that lap a little bit.
webcam, if you had my driver cam up, you would have saw me fisting, like fist pumping the air or, out of turn 4, thinking I was already winning.
Well, I tell you what, that is incredible confidence, and I guess a fortunate turn of events for you that ultimately you were indeed battling the 54 and were just able to finish ahead of him. 3/1000ths of a second separating the gap. Talk to us a little bit about what it was like doing green flag pit stops here tonight. Not necessarily something you would expect here at Daytona.
Green flag pit stops at either super speedway is a challenge, to say the least. Making sure you get on the brakes properly, making sure you're not locking up the tires and getting the pit speed before the pit line. It's all an art form. It's something that I have worked tirelessly on multiple times. We've seen in previous broadcasts of me even passing like 6 cars on pit entry. However, I need a little bit more practice with the Gen 4. I had the right front tire locked up the entire way coming down to pit road.
Well, ultimately, things fell just the right way for you tonight. Grant, congratulations on kicking off the season with a Clash victory. Anyone you'd like to shout out here this evening?
You guys at V-Speed, obviously, putting on an amazing broadcast. Somehow to show off back-to-back Clash wins for me. I do want to thank everyone in B&O, the team. We were communicating through most of that race, just trying to make sure that we were pushing our teammates and stuff. Thank Splash and Go Graphics for paint jobs. They didn't make a paint job for this Clash since it was a one-off with this car, but have a new paint job coming up soon. And Gamer Subs for giving me the energy to be able to do these races.
Alrighty. Grant, thank you so much for dropping by. Congrats on narrowly or handily winning tonight, depending on which version of events we're watching here, the broadcast events or the internal events of Grant Turner. But either way, congrats, and looking forward to potentially talking to you next week.
Have a good one, guys.
That was race winner Grant Turner, who picks up the victory here tonight in the Noir Motorsports Clash.
Now we move on to our second place finisher. You're seeing him on the screen right here, leading this thing with about 2 or 3 laps to go. That's Caleb Gilbert in the number 54. I've caught up with him. Caleb, it took iRacing a solid 3 seconds to figure out who won this race, and it took us up here in the booth even longer than that. I thought for sure you had it, but it looked like maybe just paired with the wrong lap car. That's who dictated the outcome of this race.
Yeah, we maybe we need to go to manual timing here. I'm not sure. I think the twisted bumper of mine maybe a little bit ahead, but yeah, no, that's how I feel like every one of these, the Clash of the Duels, end up coming down this way. Yeah, I hate finishing second. I do it a lot for whatever reason. So I mean, by that little amount, I'd rather be upside down somewhere, I guess.
Well, I have 1,000,001 things to say about what you just said just now about finishing second, but I'm going to leave that behind and move on. Caleb, 3/1000ths of a second. You had a really good shot there coming out of turn 4. You guys side by side, but you somehow were able to position yourself to even give you a shot. A lot of drivers can't say that. You can see back there with the 55 of Richie, he never really had a partner. He just had to work by himself. You guys put yourself in front of those lap cars and try to make something happen.
Yeah, I looked in the rear view with like 3 to go, and I had Maddie behind me, and we were just talking about it. We always end up bumper to bumper at the end of these things somehow. So I knew I had somebody reliable. It might have been me in the car. I've never run the Gen 4s at a super speedway. Uh, didn't practice beforehand, seeing how they or getting pushed, that is. So I wasn't sure, being the lead car, if I needed to maybe hold the brakes a little bit off four, if it was better to not do anything at all. I kind of got caught in the middle. Maybe that would have made a difference. Maybe it helped. There's no way to know. But it was a really odd ending with all the lap cars. So looking for my teammates, and then all of a sudden there's four guys fighting to be on the lead lap, and they're making the crazy moves, and really unique finish there with the way that it shaped out.
Post race here, Caleb, I know that this race ended under regulation. You had a lot going on there around you. And you also have a lot of people that put this car on the racetrack tonight. So go ahead and shout those people out while we have you in the booth.
Yeah, thanks to Chapman Environmental, who's usually on the hood of the 54 machine. Kind of went a little throwback tonight. Didn't have time to work one of those up. Coastal Financial, Buttkicker, All About Bugs, and the rest of our sponsors here at the league. They are a big part of making this happen, and I'm very thankful for them. Thanks to EXR and Performance, the teammates out there, Rob, Jeremy. It's nice having Berube and Nick in my ear to spew some nonsense from time to time. Those guys are a lot of fun. And Bennett, can't forget Bennett. Those guys are a lot of fun. And most importantly, thanks to you guys for putting on a show. And last thing, justice for Morgan Cook going to the back. I can't believe it.
Yeah, well, that did happen, and you got to say that the V-Speed chat definitely recognized that name and threw it out there quite continuously. So, but outside of that, can confirm that we will enjoy a Coors Light after this, and even though 3/1000ths of a second does seem like an eternity here on this finish, congratulations in the clash, and we look forward to seeing you at the duels and at Daytona.
Yep, catch you guys next week.
Second place finisher Caleb Gilbert in the 54 finally brings us to victory lane, as we'll get to your race winner by 3/1000, or actually Justin Ritchie. I'm sorry about that. Third place finisher. We actually got to to the winner to start. I'm a little backwards here, Alex. I have to apologize for that.
Every league does it a little bit differently, and with this being our first event together in 3 months, probably
since Iowa here for Racing Rev. That was the last one, race 15 for me.
Wow.
But then
definitely been a minute then.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So we'll get it sorted out for next week.
We got it sorted out. We got your third place finisher. So there we go. That's Justin Ritchie in the 55, and you were in no man's land in the sucker hole for these last couple laps. Had nobody pushing you. You pushed everyone around you to try to get find that hole, and got around the 15 by 6/1000ths at the line.
Yeah, that was a wild finish. I saw like 10 cars in front of me coming off of 4. I was like, top 10, not too bad. And then across the start finish line, looked down. Oh, got a third. It's dope. Was not expecting that.
That relative had names just in front of you, but it wasn't that many. You had a lot of lap cars dictating the outcome of this race. And it seemed like you were kind of on your own, and nobody really knows Justin Ritchie here in this league. So this is your first outing in Racing Revolution. How did it feel?
Yeah, dude, it felt awesome. I had a little help there with about 10 to go, Kyle, and I had a run and I had to take it, and he wasn't able to follow me. So I kind of ditched my help, but yeah, clean racing, hard racing. I'm excited for the season. I'm excited to be here.
Well, Justin, you know that not every Kyle is equal, and looking for a Kyle. It wasn't Stewart behind you, although I will say that was the paint scheme I would have chose tonight to push me to a victory. But again, we got to go back and talk about the start of this race. We had those 2 big wrecks there at the start. How are you able to survive the carnage and keep this car clean?
Yeah, so the first 1-car incident that happened, I had to check up really big, and I had lost the draft. So I was really just hoping to make it to the stage break on the lead lap. Was able to do that just fine. The second caution, I don't think I was near it. I can't remember. I think it may have been behind me. I honestly don't remember too many laps at Daytona here recently, but yeah, just try to be conservative until I knew we were going to be green till the end, and once that happens, it's just full push. So it's pretty. There's not much thought process that goes on to these super speedway races for me at least. So.
Well, Justin, I know that this is a good way to start things, and on the flip side, you got your foot in the door. You got your name out there. Is definitely one of the drivers to respect here at the plate tracks, and I'm sure in the future at the mile and a halfs, we're going to completely transfer over though to an entirely different car and go with that next gen. Do you feel like that momentum continues for you?
Plate stuff, it can. It is a little bit of a casino whenever you step on Talladega, Daytona, tracks like that, Atlanta. But I'm just going to do my best and try not to get lapped too many times this season. I don't really have a ton of experience with the Cup next gen car. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'm not too big of an eyesore out there that people start to hate me. So, but it's good to start on a positive note. That is for sure.
Well, outside of that, Justin, I know there's people that you have to shout out and thank for putting this car on the racetrack. Go ahead and name those people.
Heck yeah. So shout out to my team, Orange Speed or something, I think is what it's called in the voice chat right now. But it's me, Morgan Cook, Dakota Floyd, and Kyle Stewart. Big shout out to V-Speed for always getting these broadcasts put up. Always love to watch them. Shout out to Racing Rev for letting me, join in this season, and hopefully talk to you a little bit more this season.
Got it paused on the screen right there. That's what 6 1,000ths of a second looks like here at Daytona, and just in front of that, 3 1,000ths. Congratulations, Justin, and we look forward to the rest of the season possibly getting you back up here.
Thanks, group. Yeah, have a good night.
Justin Ritchie, third place here at the Clash, and I have lost my Discord, so I'm glad you took care of that, Alex, because I've lost my bearings here in this post-race. There's a lot going on.
No kidding. But we are all good now.
All right. Well, you can join us back here in just a week's time. Next Wednesday, it's going to be the Daytona Duels. Get set to put up that qualifying order for the Daytona 500. Just like in real life, these drivers are going to go for 100 laps. Try to figure out who's going to start where on the inside and outside row. Again, that'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You catch all the action. We have flag-to-flag coverage all season long in the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series on V-Speed. And with that, we have to thank the people that made this possible. Rob Rader and all he does here. Alex Gagnon, the co-commentary up in the booth. Our other producers, Morgan Cook, Eddie Smith, Logan Threlkeld, DJ Lyon, and Adam Baker for all he does to make this thing look good. Bradley Cooper telling you so long from Daytona. We'll see you in 1 week's time for another event at a super speedway. Until then, stay tracking.